I'm going to say this first because no one told me when it would have helped. If the eclipse makes the graves whisper, keep your mouth closed when you count. Keep it shut even if you feel the breath. Do not say your name while the bell is talking. Do not answer back even to be polite. I thought I was cautious. I thought rules were enough. We went to the old churchyard because the paper said the line of totality would pass straight over it. I had been doing EVP work for years. Small places, old houses, back roads, cellars. My wife came along more often than not. You know how you get used to having someone do the little things while you focus. She watched the time, held the light, listened with me. Her name was Lisa. Mine is Sam. We parked by the road because I do not like to pull in close at night, and even in the day, the idea of driving between stones made me feel wrong. The path had gravel. The grass was low. It was afternoon and there were no other cars. The sky had that white look before a storm even though there was no cloud yet. I remember telling her to zip her jacket because the wind cut. It was June. It should not have felt like October. We stick to rules, I said. I always said that out loud. If you say rules, you follow them. No names during the bells. Mouth closed when we count. No answering if we hear anything say our names. If I say stop, we stop. If you say stop, we stop. We go out the same way we came. No new paths. I got it, she said. She smiled and tapped the recorder. Batteries charged. Fresh card. We stood by the low wall. The tower had a small bell. It rang on the hour, and sometimes for funerals. I had checked. There was a sign about the eclipse. It said the church was closed, but the yard was open. People had tied little eclipse glasses to the fence with string. It made me feel like everyone was coming to a party we would miss. I did not think that then. I thought it was lucky we would have it to ourselves. We did a gear check by the first row of stones. I held up the recorder and said, "This is Sam. Test 1. Wind from the west. No traffic. Birds." Lisa said, "This is Lisa. Test 1. June ______. I do not want to say the date now. I do not like to give it shape." I listened back in the headphones. There was a low rush. Wind against the tiny mic. The birds were loud. Under that there was a thread. Thin and high and nothing. I clicked it off. "Clean," I said. "Let's go in." We walked between the old stones. Names you cannot make out unless you rub your fingers in the cuts. Dates that do not look like numbers now. I counted my steps and looked for any broken ground or bad footing. There was a cold draft that came from the middle rows. It slid across my ankles and made the hair on my sock line lift. It felt like a door opened somewhere and shut again. Lisa rubbed her arms. She did not say she was cold. She always tried to make me feel like I was not dragging her into something bad. We set the first session by a double stone under an ash tree. We had 15 minutes to first contact of the eclipse. The light went thin, like someone put gauze over the sun. I held up the recorder and set it to hold until I was ready. I was not going to wait for the bell. I wanted a baseline. I said, "We are here to listen. We are not here to push you. You can say your name. You can tell us if you want us to go. You can ask us to pray. I do not do big speeches. I let quiet sit. It takes a while sometimes. 5 minutes, and you have done nothing but stand and breathe and try to think of nothing so you do not fill the air with your own thoughts." The first bell was the half hour. It rang one slow time. We had agreed we would count with our mouths closed. You make little beats in your head, and you keep your lips pressed. You do not go 1 or 2 because you will hear it on playback and you cannot tell if it is you or something else. My jaw ached because I was clenching. We counted, then stood still and waited again. I played it back. The bell came through. The hit and the ring. There was hiss. It is always there. You get used to hearing the grain of the air. I heard something in it. The hiss turned sharp and slid like a snake through a crack. I know I am not supposed to say that. It is what my mind did. It narrowed and cut, turned to S sounds. Not words. Not then. Just S, 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 and a whisper that could have been leaves. Lisa leaned in. Do you hear it? I hear something, I said. I moved my thumb back a little and listened again. It was there when the bell faded. A long exhale. S. Then nothing. Wind, I said. I did not believe that. You tell yourself the least until you cannot. She pointed. Look. Between the stones there was a line of dark that was not a shadow from the sun. The sun was high enough and to the south enough that all the stone shadows fell one way. This line ran the other way. Thin. Rope thin. It touched one stone and the base of another, and it moved. Not fast. A slow drag, like a string pulled tight by a hand you cannot see. I stepped closer. It slid into the shade, and I could not see it. New one for me, I said. I kept my voice low. I brought the recorder up again. We see the line. Move it again if you want. We waited. It did not move. The wind picked up and then stopped. The cold draft went over the backs of my legs and went into my jacket collar. It felt small, like a person too close. The hair went up along my neck. Lisa tucked her hair into her hood and looked at me. Did you feel that? I did. Is that on? She asked, pointing at the recorder. It is. It is. The top edge of the sun bit away. The light went dull. The birds pulled back. It sounded like evening. A car passed out on the road and then nothing. I heard my own breath in the cups of the headphones. Something breathed back at me just behind my right ear, warm and fast. Short, like someone who had run across the yard and stopped at my shoulder. I turned. No one. The line between the stones was back. Closer now. It had crossed the space while I looked away. I stepped back and my boot hit a sunken patch and I almost went down. Lisa took my elbow without a word. She had the same look she got when she watched a kid step too close to a train on a platform. You do not want to speak because you know anything you say will startle them the wrong way. I clicked stop and then play. The breath was on the track. It was not wind. It came in just before the bell. The bell hit one. Then there were 3 short little S notes under the ring. Not words. I kept telling myself that, but the back of my mouth tasted like a copper penny. I hate the taste of fear. It is rough and old. It feels like a lie you already know you are going to tell. We moved deeper. Not far. A row and a half. I kept looking at the path back to the wall. I told myself, keep the near edge in sight. Do not snake around. I set the next session by a stone with low dates. 1798. The top was broken off. No tree here. Open. I wanted open. The light dimmed another shade. I put the headphones on Lisa. You take this one, I said. You tell me if you hear anything. Tap if it gets weird. She nodded. Her eyes looked glassy, then normal. She always slipped into the work fast. She did not have the weight of all the places behind us. She whispered, "We came to listen." We mean no harm." The recorder took her breath. In the other cup, I could hear little ticks. I looked down to check the time. We had 7 minutes until the hour. Something clicked in the path to my left. You know the sound of gravel pressed fast and hard. A small foot in small ground. I looked and saw a print sink into the gravel and fill with the fine dust, like flour. No heel, just the ball and the toes. Then another, a foot apart. They went from the far side of the path to the edge of the stone. They stopped there. They pointed at me. I stepped around them because stepping on them felt like stepping on a hand. Lisa tapped my shoulder and put the headphones half on my ear. "Listen," she mouthed. She did not want to speak out loud any more than me. I heard the hiss again, and then words inside the hiss. Not English at first. Not words I connect with now. Just pieces that felt wrong in my head. Then, thin and clear like a reed. Saw, and then little slivers of S by the dozens. SSSS's SSSSSSSSSS. I pulled the headphones off and listened with my own ears. The air itself had that shape now. The thin rope line between the stones pulled. It lifted and dropped. It came a foot nearer. "We should go," I said. "We said we would wait for the hour," she said. "One more bell, then we go." "Okay." Mouth closed. "Do not speak. Do not say your name. Do not say my name." "Okay." The bell hit the hour. One beat. I counted inside my teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4. I lost count because the hiss rose. I shut my eyes and breathed slow. The 5th hit came, and then I thought I heard a 6th, or maybe it was the echo. When it stopped, Lisa said, 5. I got 6. "You got it wrong," she said. She smiled, but her mouth did not go all the way with her eyes. She looked over my shoulder and then away. "Play it back," she said. I played it back. 1, 2, 3. On the 4th ring, the hiss turned into voices. Names. They braided together. Not one and then another. All at once. Mine was in there. Saz, Sam, SS Sam. Lisa was in there. Liz, SSSA, Lisa. They wove tight. I could not pull them apart. It was like a rope made of names. Old ones. 2. Sissy, Asa, Jess, Moses, Alicia, Isaiah. S was a river, and every name was a stick in it. The last bell landed and their names piled on top of mine and hers. "Sam," they said. "Lisa," they said. It was not like a person calling. It was a thing saying 2 sounds to try them on. The rope-thin shadow rose like it breathed and slid across the gravel and brushed my boot. Like a cord. I stepped back and it followed. It did not have weight, but when it touched my lace, I felt the pressure. A tug. Not much. Enough. I flinched. Lisa grabbed my arm. "Do not say it," she whispered. Her breath smelled like coffee. I had not noticed that until then. Little stupid things surface when you are afraid. You hold them because they are normal. "Gate," I said. "Now." We walked. We walked. Not fast. I did not want to give it my back. The rows were straight. If you go out the same way, you do not get lost. I know that. I have stood in dark bigger than this with less to go on. But the light went another shade down. The sun was half gone now. You do not think of the sun as a thing that can be smaller. It is wrong. The world went gray. The wall looked farther. The path felt long. The cold kept coming in little drafts, not a steady breeze. It touched my wrists and the back of my neck. It came with the bell in my head, still ringing. We made it 3 more stones. The rope line slid around the base of one, and now there were 2 lines that met by my left boot. My tongue was heavy. I kept it pressed to my palate because I did not want to open my jaw. A breath touched my right ear again, right at the shell. "Saw," it said. Quiet, like the first part of a word. My shoulders went up. I did not move. I kept walking. "Stop," Lisa said. "We should do one more." She pointed at the tower. The face of the sun was a crescent, small as a thumbnail. "This is why we came." "No," I said. I saw the rope shadow across the path like a tripwire. I pointed to it. She saw it now. She nodded. She was shaking a little. Her hands were steady. Her mouth shook. "We do one quick at the gate then," she said. She did not like to leave things wrong. She always said if you leave something half open, it pulls you back later and you do it worse. We reached the gate and found it chained to keep cars out. We could go between the posts easily. I stopped. The rope line had come with us. It lay across the ground behind us and then up and over the low rails and into the yard again. It made a long, narrow loop like a lasso. I said, "One quick," and I hated myself while I said it. I turned the recorder on. I did not want it. I did not want to hear what I heard. I held it anyway. I said, "We are leaving. We mean no harm. We are not saying our names. You can let go." Something spoke in the hiss. It sounded like church, not the bell. The words you hear when you stand in the doorway. I could not tell them at first. Then I caught little pieces of a prayer, but wrong. The cadence was right, and the vowels were right, but they ran in reverse. Lines of "deliver us" and "from evil," but chopped backwards, so you heard "evil" before "deliver" and "us" before "from." A string of amen that went "Nema" so quiet it was like it was behind a wall. I did not like the way my own lips wanted to move to match. I stopped them. I kept them pressed. Lisa did too. Her mouth pressed, her jaw round and tight. We both looked at the recorder like it was something that could bite. The bell hit again. Not the tower. The recorder. I had not hit play. The little speaker cracked, and the last bell we had recorded rang out again by itself. Then, again. It was a loop. The counter on the face jumped backwards, then ran again. It is an old thing. It bumps. I have had it skip before. Not like this. It took the last bell and made it happen again. I do not want to pretend the machine did anything on its own. It did what stopped me from saying it did. It played what I had already fed it. The loop hit, and the hiss filled, and the S sounds rose, and every name laid over every other and formed a braid. It was tight and fine. I could see it while I heard it. The rope line between the graves lifted and curled. It had a head now, if you want to call it that. Not a face. A point. It pointed at the recorder, and then at us. It was a serpentine thing woven from whispers. It moved like speech. Every time a name hissed, it pulled itself an inch. Not fast. No rush. It coiled to the rail and came through. It did not care how wood should stop shadow. It did not break anything. It did not touch the rail. It lay on it and then on the air, and then it was around Lisa's neck. She made a noise. Not loud. Old fear noise. Throat in. I put my hand between the shadow and her skin. It was cold. It stung the heel of my hand. It felt like rope dragged through ice water. It was rope thin. It slid when I tried to grip it and cut a shallow line in my palm. I smelled blood like the penny taste. I grabbed with both hands and pulled. It did not move by my pull. It moved with the names. Every time the recorder said Lisa, it tightened. Every time the recorder said Sam, it lifted and went toward me and then stopped and hovered like a hand waiting. "Turn it off," she rasped. Her eyes were looking at my face and at the recorder and at the space behind me all at once. "Turn it." I hit stop. It did not stop. It kept the last bell and the hiss and the SSSS, and it ran them. The counter froze on the same second and then ticked and then froze again. I pulled the battery. The display went dead, but the sound was still there, getting softer and then louder as if it had depth, and I had pulled away a layer but the core was still there, ringing out of me. "Do not say your name," I said. I chopped the words. I did not open my teeth. "I am not," she said. The shadow tightened. She gagged. She cannot help the shape her throat makes when she coughs. It is Ka. It is close to my name when you are dying. The bell rolled. It was totality. The sky went dark in a breath. It was night. It was not night like midnight. It was wrong. The warmth left. The birds went silent. A dog barked far off and then stopped like someone closed a door on it. The breath was in my ear again. "Sam," it said. "Clear this time." Not a question. Not a call. A trial of the shape. It felt out the letters on my skin. My name braided into others. SSAMSSS. I kept my mouth closed. I clamped it. I did not open even to take a better breath. I pressed my tongue in my jaw and the tips of my teeth touched my lip. I shook my head. I shook it hard. I could not say it now. If I said it now, the thing would close. It would take the loop and make it a noose. "Sam," Lisa said. She did not mean to. She was looking at me and she knew me. She was not calling me like you call a dog or a child. She was saying my name because that is what we say when we look at the person we live with. It came out broken. SSAAM. The rope closed a thumb width. She pulled at it and her nails scraped at her own skin and the shadow together. She left red tracks and the shadow threw no shade. It was shade. That is the only way I can say it plain. I tried to get a hand under it and lift. It burned this time. I dropped it and sucked the skin of my palm and then pressed it again. Little stupid moves because you do not have any other. I took the recorder and stepped on it. The case cracked. A piece shot toward the wall. The sound did not stop. The bell and the hiss and our names looped inside the air and inside my ear. It was not coming from the little speaker. It came from the space between the stones. "Say my name," she said. Her eyes were wide. Her lips were blue at the edges. "Say it and it will take you and let me go." I do not know why we think trades exist. I do not know why we think things bargain. I looked at her and the rope around her throat and I wanted to open my jaw. I wanted to trade places so old it felt like a hole. The breath at my ear said Sam again. It said Lisa too. It braided both into itself. I started to open my mouth. I could feel the tip of my tongue going to the roof, lifting for the S. I closed it. I bit my tongue and tasted blood. I did not say it. The rope brushed my neck. It felt my pulse. It pressed. It waited. It was not a mind. It was a thing that worked on sound. It took input and made action. Every time a name came, it moved that way. Every time silence came, it searched and moved slow. I understood it then. It had the bells and it had our names braided with them. It was counting with the bell. It was tightening with the count. I counted in my head. Not one, not two. I did not let the shapes of the numbers form. I made little blanks. I moved my jaw like I had gum, and that made my teeth press, and it felt stupid and kept me from saying anything that had shape. I tried to keep my chest open to get air around the rope when it brushed me. I did not look at Lisa for a second because I knew if I saw her face I would say her name, because my body knows that is the sound that goes with her. She made a small sound that was not a word. Her hands dropped. The rope was all the way around her now. It overlapped itself twice. It made a braid around her throat, and then into her hair, and then down into the front of her jacket like a snake settling to sleep. It pushed and relaxed with each beat of the bell. It sank in. It did not cut her head off. It is not like that. It pressed until the breath had nowhere to go, and then it held. The last loop of the bell rang and the light came back a little as the moon moved, and the rope around my neck eased away an inch and then slid out like a line pulled out of water. It left a cold, wet feeling on my skin. It eased. It did not ease on her. I put my ear to her mouth. I did not hear the breath. I put my hand on her chest. I did not feel the move. I pounded twice with the heel of my hand and nothing. I tried the thing you do with two hands and pressing and counting and not thinking about the time. I did it until my palms hurt. The bruise around her neck darkened. It was a band. Rope thin all the way around. There was a little blood where her nail had gone too deep. It mixed with the thin black smear the shadow left. It smelled like iron and damp moss. It went into my head and sat there like a weight. The rope shadow lay across the grass then and did not move. It went thin. It went flat. It sank down into the shade of the stones and went away. The breath at my ear went quiet like someone walked away backward. The names in the hiss thinned. The bells stopped. The part of the sky that had been eaten grew back. The birds made a noise like someone let them out. I stood. The recorder lay in pieces. The battery sat in the dirt like a pill. There was no sound except the little dry ticks of leaves rubbing. I did not say her name. I did not say mine. I got my arms under her and tried to lift, but the angle was wrong and I almost dropped her. I put her down and I do not remember leaving. I remember the gate and the wall and the gravel and a car horn somewhere and a hand on my arm that was not there, and then I was on the road and someone called from a porch and I could not answer because if I opened my mouth I thought the rope would be there, waiting. I kept it closed until my jaw hurt so bad it throbbed in my ears. I did not go back into that yard with anyone. They told me I had to. They said it like slow and clear. We need you to show where. I shook my head. I wrote it down. I drew it out. They did not like me after. They do not like when you do not do the normal things. I did the rest. I wore a suit. I stood by a different stone later and listened to a different bell and no rope came. It is not time that kills you. It is the shape of sounds and who says them. If you still think you want to hear something real, go out to any churchyard under totality. Bring a cheap recorder. Set your rules. Test it. Listen for the hiss. Wait for the bell and count with your mouth closed. Say your names into the air and into the machine, and see if the static turns to S. Stand between the stones where the shadows draw ropes across the ground, and wait for your breath to come back to you from behind your ear. And when it does, and the bells hit, and the names braid together, picture the thin, dark cord rising off the path, steady as a hand, and feel it touch the soft under your jaw. Then see if you can keep your mouth closed. Wait, before you go, don't forget to subscribe. It's the best way to make sure you don't miss the next one. And while you're here, hit like. It keeps the channel going and helps more people find these stories. Go ahead, watch another. You've got time, right? See you in the next one.